September 2020 Scorpio Tarotscope. This is a general reading for all Scorpio sun, moon, or risings, or if you have heavily placed planets in Scorpio. So if you've got like a ton of planets that are in Scorpio, you may want to watch this because it could definitely affect you. The intention of this is it is a broad spectrum reading for a lot of different people, so you have to take what I say and apply it in certain areas of your life wherever you feel as though it does apply. Also, any actions or choices that you decide to take after hearing this reading is up to you. You're responsible for it. So if this reading doesn't make sense to you, that's completely fine. It doesn't mean anything's wrong or bad. It just means that you might be working on something different. But this is intended to be sort of either a guide or a source of validation to kind of give you insight into what could be coming for you or happening during the month of September for you. What energies you might want to look out for, be aware of. What's the word? Cultivate or capitalize on, that kind of a thing. Okay. Hi, Marita. Hey, April. Hey, Kate. So this first card is from the Empathic Oracle. I chose a different oracle deck for each of the elements. So for earth, air, fire, and water. So I unboxed this deck for the water signs. So this first card is to act as sort of like I was kind of joking, but I kind of like this idea. It's sort of like your psychic or spiritual Sherpa for the month of September. So take this card as you will. It's supposed to be kind of like your tour guide, the principle, the thought, the idea, the focus of the month. That kind of use it however you feel you see fit. My dog's in here. What is she doing? She's staring me down. I don't know what's going on. Oh, she just burped. Okay, that's what it was. She had gas, apparently. Alright, so let's see. What do my Scorpios need to know? Sun, moon, rising. Okay. So, let's just close this here. First things first, it's called Your Story. So you guys can see this card. It's a book with some writing in it. I'm going to say this, it's card number 54. 5 and 4 numerologically kind of falls into a number 9, or, combines into a number 9. Nines in tarot, to me, kind of turn into the end of a chapter personally, right? For those of us personally. I love that we're ending a chapter in the book, in the pictures of book. For my Scorpios, I also like that it's called Your Story. So when I look at this card, and I haven't looked at the definition yet, I will read the definition to you guys so we get a more accurate idea of what the artist wanted or the author wanted for this deck and this card in particular. But my first instincts say that Scorpio is going to be doing a little bit of review work in the month of September, quite possibly taking an inventory in some way. I keep hearing the word inventory as I'm looking at this card. I don't mean this in a bad way. It feels like a source of self-reflection. It feels like my Scorpios might be pulling some value out of experiences of the past, right? Kind of. That's the idea of, sorry, this isn't framed so right, let me pull that over. That's the idea of this, Your Story is kind of going back and maybe reviewing, not living in the past per se, but reviewing back through kind of the culmination of events that have led us to this point throughout the month of September, and kind of seeing the value in that. That's sort of what I feel. I feel like there might actually be some help, some perspective that we may have as Scorpios, and I'm not a Scorpio, I'm just saying that as I'm talking to you guys, that could give, maybe guidance to others or insight, inspiration to others, and also to ourselves. There's definitely like self-appreciation in this card is the vibe that I'm getting from it. So let me, through maybe hardships, right? Like just sort of seeing the culmination of everything we've been through and understanding the value of all of that and kind of coming full terms with that. That's sort of the 9 aspect of this being card number 54. So let me read the little story on this card, excuse me, in the book here. See what it has to say, because I could be totally off and wrong, but that's kind of my feeling for Scorpio of what I think you guys will be dealing with or looking at. we'll decide listening from the story and my story and see which one is actually your story, as the card says. So each page that I write of my experience will be one I wonder, and in the knowing that I wield the pen. Wait, I'm sorry, did I read that correctly? Each page that I write of my experience will be one of wonder, and in the knowing that I wield the pen. So, in other words, we are in charge here of our story. All right, so beliefs, wounds, other projections, and overall feelings of negativity can all lead you into a story that you can't seem to escape. When you give into these energetic experiences, the story is given life, and you become the character that is trapped in the pages. A myriad of labels that you search out in a need to understand yourself can quickly become your truth as you give into the energetic meaning that others have placed into them. You are not a label. You are not your wounds, and other projections are their experience, not yours. Anchoring to the story limits you in your ability to experience that which awaits. Have I become what others need me to be, losing myself in their neediness? Am I allowing myself to write new chapters in the discovery of who I am? Am I too afraid to jump off the page and continue on with my life and break free of this story? So that to me is a little bit bleaker than what I feel in this book is. To me, I feel like a sense of empowerment. To me, I feel the number 9 in the 54 number speaks to this idea of maybe kind of summing up our experiences and understanding that we are more than the totality of those experiences, and that those experiences led us all to a point where we can kind of convey who we are in a clear and concise way. I'm going to give this card a little bit more empowerment than I feel like is in that reading. Although this is a deck called the Empathic Oracle, so for empaths, it might be important for them to research that. So those of you with Scorpio certainly can be very empathic. For those of you that might be more on the empathic side, you may want to listen to that definition and ask yourself those questions. To me, though, I feel like this story feels like we could utilize our experiences to potentially help others in the month of September, to maybe make a kind of, I feel like, kind of come to terms with why we went through certain things in the past and how they've taught us. I hear the word like grace, like in the sense of how they've graced us with their presence. And I'm not talking about easy experiences. I'm talking about the more complicated ones. But right now, the reflection that I'm feeling in this story card feels like, oh, I understand why I went through that now. I understand how that served a purpose. I understand what I learned from that and how much stronger I am because of it. It's that sort of a vibe that I'm getting from this card. So take whichever definition works best for you. Either the one that I read to you or the one that I just said in regards to this card. I think that it's about self-reflection. I don't think it's about being stuck in a story of somebody else's idea. The other thing that this says to me is it's your story, meaning you the viewer. So to me, that kind of is misleading to what's written in the book. Does that make sense? Because that sounds more like, what's written in the book sounds more like people-pleasing. That sounds like their story, not your story. So that could have been maybe thought out a little bit better, I guess. I don't know. So let's see, what does my Scorpios need to know for the month of September. Okay. All right, so this first card is sort of where you're centered at throughout the month of September. It gives me an idea of where you'll be at, what you'll be sort of dealing with, resonating with. And this kind of ties into what I was just saying with this story card. This is the World, guys. This is the end of the major arcana. This is closing up of chapters. This is sort of having it all, understanding it all, reflecting upon it all. The World to me is a sign of success, right? Like it kind of like we've come to completion. We've come to an ending on a big chapter in our lives. If September shows us that throughout the month of September, if we find ourselves deciding to sort of shift gears, change perspectives, move on to the next, start up new ventures, that would make sense. This feels to me like this World card feels to me that we're at a place where we kind of understand things a little bit more clearly. We understand the value of things. the World card is also major arcana, so to me this is a rather significant feeling of fulfillment that should be going on for my Scorpios, even if it's around, say, something that's negative or something that, we no longer want to deal with. We're pretty clear on that, right? That's the clarity that I feel like is in the Your Story card. I also feel like there's an emanation happening in this World card, right? The World card is kind of full, complete, and whole. She's total in her presence, in a sense. And so we might be feeling that throughout the month of September, or at least operating from that place. And it'll bring about sort of interesting experiences to us, I think, throughout the month of September. I think our tolerance for what we're willing to put up with or what we're willing to allow in might be slightly more selective and slightly more discerning, right? Because we've been through sort of, say, a lot. I think that the reward, I don't get a sense that this is a negative card or that, we feel, the only thing that I could think that might, sort of give Scorpios like a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even want to say that it's negative. To me, the only sense that I'm getting when I'm looking at this is like, okay, what do we choose next? Like, that's the only question I feel like might arise for you guys in September. It's like, okay, I finished that. I'm done with that. I'm ready to move on. I feel the sort of the fulfillment of that, the awareness of that, the clarity of that. That's this World card. But it's like, what do I want to open myself up to next? What journey do I want to start new? Does that make sense? And being more discerning or less maybe open to allowing others and their perceptions in, and that might be the definition that we read in the story card. It sounds sort of like that, because our story is exactly that. It's your story, right? It's the importance of that and the value of that and the sort of the honoring of that. Does that make sense, Scorpio? I hope that makes sense. So the only downside, and I don't even see this as a downside, it just really seems like this September might be a month where you guys are taking time to kind of decide what's the next move, what's the next exploration, the next adventure for you guys, right? And being mindful or careful about, not just letting any bullshit scenario in. If that makes sense. All right, so the next card is the Foundation card. This card tells me a bit about sort of what was going on in the past that led us up to this point. This can also sometimes be not only the memory that holds everything in place, but it can be kind of what drives everything along, right? Okay, interesting. So this is the Five of Cups. This is a water sign. So I'm going to say this. Hold on. What is the astrological association with the world? I should know that. And I'm drawing a blank right now. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to look up one thing really quick, but it feels like I can't keep all of these cards in my head. This is all of the fixed signs. So it's Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Well, it's good. Scorpio's in there, so it's definitely your card in the center. And it's associated with Saturn, though. The planet Saturn. Okay, so it's not necessarily attributed to a sign, because some of them are attributed to planets, some are to signs. All right, so, and the four people in the four corners represent those four signs, like Leo, Taurus is down here, there's a lion, there's a bull, I don't know what the hell what's the friggin' eagle for? I don't know, Scorpio and Aquarius are the other two, so anyways, so down in the past, we've got the Five of Cups, and what that says to me is it feels like you guys have maybe come through a little bit of muck and mire. There's been a little bit of sadness, a little bit of pain. The one thing about the Five of Cups is it's kind of like a misperception card to me, in the sense that we have always depicted in the card 5 cups. 2 are upright and still okay, and 3 are spilt over. And generally the person in the card is upset over the 3 spilt and not paying any attention to the 2 that are still full, right? There's usually also a body of water nearby, which is not present in this card, I don't believe. That person can go and fill up their cups again. But so to me, when I look at this Five of Cups, there's a little bit of heartbreak, a little bit of sadness or emotions that we've dealt with in the past that might be sort of leading us along. But what I feel like the memory of this sadness or this heartbreak, this loss that we've maybe suffered in the past, it's kind of added to our story, right? It's added to strengthening us, teaching us something of value, that sort of a thing. And when I look at this being down in this position, this also speaks to that idea of, you know what, I am going to be more discerning about what I allow into my life this month. I am going to be more careful about like what kind of havoc, emotional stuff, because I feel like we've conquered this, right? We've maybe taken our 2 cups that are full, we've gotten over the 3 that did spill, and we've kind of moved on and gotten to this place of fulfillment and completeness again. We've completed the cycle and we're willing to move on. So we're less apt, this 5 of Cups to me feels like it's less apt to want to let in goofy experiences, people that don't appreciate us, things that are not worth our attention. Does that make sense? Because we do get to hold that pen, like in the definition of this story, like we're writing the book and we need to be responsible for that. So I feel like although this might be sadness from the past or a disappointment from the past, it is that very disappointment that actually strengthens us to be more discerning or more cautious around what we let in or how we let it in, how much we let it in. It's that kind of a variable, right? And from that, we sort of are empowering ourselves. That's the power of this World card in the center. We're empowering ourselves to kind of take the time that we might need to make the right decisions or the right choices towards what is the next that we want to take on, right? I kind of feel like, and I know this sounds sort of weird, is the next sign Scorpio? Oh, next season is Scorpio season. It's going to be your season. So this might be like a shifting of chapters for you guys. Like maybe there's something in your season that you guys are going to be dealing with, because we're in Virgo season now. So next round should be, is that correct? No. Oh, it'll be Libra and then Scorpio. So maybe come Scorpio time, you guys have set on to a new path or a new choice, a new endeavor, that sort of a thing. And right now you're in that sort of period of tying up loose ends. And April, dear, Gemini's been done. I did all the air signs yesterday, dear. So that is what I kind of see here with Scorpio, is that quite possibly you guys can be moving on to the next in the next few months. And so this idea of disappointment or past disappointment, past letdowns, that sort of thing are no longer, they're kind of not forcing you, but making you be more aware and more careful about what you choose to sort of let in or take on. Now, up above you is the spirit or soul card, and what this is what your spirit or soul wants you to work on during the month of September. God, my throat is giving me trouble. All right, so this is the Three of Pentacles. To me, this is always about sort of collaboration, coming together. This could be business dealings, ideas, sort of coming together. I feel like with this very card, if you look at this man sort of laying on the ground, they both sort of seem sort of relaxed. To me, always when I see this card, they look like they're talking to each other about sort of, oh, one day, what if we did this kind of thing. They give me that sort of a vibe. But what I think about this card to me is that this could be about collaboration in the sense of maybe the beginnings of new collaborations with those around us, right? This could be new business endeavors. This could also even be new love relationships, that sort of a thing, new collaborations in that regard. The deepening of friendships or relationships, that sort of a thing too. I think this being more in the spirit space, this speaks to that idea of being discerning, right? About who we let in or how far we let them in. I don't know why I'm on this like thing with you, but that's kind of what I'm seeing here. Is I feel like it's not that we can't let people in or that we can't enjoy, coming together with people in ideas and creativity, all of that sort of stuff. But we want to be careful how we go about doing it. And I feel like there is a sort of groundedness with the Three of Pentacles that our spirit wants us to kind of connect to. There's an awareness there. There's a sort of I don't want to say protection because I don't feel like you need to protect yourself per se, but there is this kind of awareness of how important upcoming collaborations may be, right? That's why this sits in the spirit space. And this could be collaboration with our own spirit, even, right? The more clearer, defined version of that, so that we are making decisions as we move forward in the months to come with a real sort of clear idea of being able to rely upon ourselves, and then we can kind of also rely upon others around us. Does that make sense? We don't necessarily have to let them wreak havoc, because I feel like with that Five of Cups, some havoc has been wreaked in in the past, and we've had to recover from that. So we don't want to have that happen again. So I feel like this Three of Pentacles is the kind of the antidote to that, or the exact sort of focus or perspective that we need coming from our higher self to remind us that, you know, any sort of partnerships that we get into, be it, you know, business, romantic, even friendships for that matter, they need to be of value. They need to be like grounded, serious, beneficial. They need to be equitable. Like that would be another really good word for this card. Is like, if these things aren't giving back to us at this point, then are they really, well, yeah, I guess I do want to say worth having, right? Are they really, are they serving us, or are they working against us? Because we've had stuff in the past that has worked against us, and we've overcome that. We don't need that again, kind of thing. And so I think that this is a healthier version of that, or our spirit wants us to have a better perspective and a better grasp of that. And so we might find ourselves being a little bit, you know, possibly reluctant, definitely more discerning, possibly a little bit more critical. You know, there's that sort of aspect to this card. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think in the long haul, it's for good reasons. So, just keeping that in mind as you move through September. If you guys could just read the title of the video, you could tell what sign it is. But Tina, this is for Scorpio. Okay, so I don't understand why people don't read it before coming into the room. Okay, so the next two signs are, the next two cards, I should just put that in the chat box, that way I can't see anybody and then I won't get distracted. So the next two cards are the outside influences. These are two cards that are sometimes either positive or negative influences that will be affecting us in the month of September. They are there to sort of either warn you or help you, that kind of a thing. They can sometimes be people, events, sometimes things more vague like belief systems or energies that are having an effect on you during the month of September. So let's see what they are. So the first one is the Eight of Cups. This is usually like a departure of some sort. I mean, you see that man walking away in the background. This could be the kind of ending of certain things so that new beginnings can happen. Eights usually bring about balance to me. The energy of the number 8 is about bringing into things back into balance. Before we get into that energy of the 9, which is the closure, which we see that 9 here in this Your Story card. To me, when I'm looking at this, I kind of feel like this is a departure in some way, but it's sort of okay. I don't feel, cups is usually the element of water and emotions. I don't feel like this feels messy emotionally to me. I feel like it might be a little bit of sadness. There might be some nostalgia attached to this card, but I feel like this departure or this separation that could potentially come in the month of September, it's long overdue. It's needed to happen. I sort of feel like it's for the best and the greatest good of all parties involved. If there's any sort of situation, friendship, this doesn't have to be necessarily a romantic relationship. The Eight of Cups isn't necessarily a romantic card other than the fact that it's cups and deals with the emotions, but it can be like a family member. It can be, you know, it can be a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or it can be a sibling, you know, or a good friend that we just no longer can be around because it's no longer working for us, right? It's no longer connecting in the way that it used to. Or, and to me, I feel like there is this sort of a nostalgia to it. There might be some sadness around it, but I feel like the work has been done, or we kind of are aware that this change needs to take place. So if this change begins to happen or starts to show itself in the month of September, just roll with it is kind of my feeling. Allow it to happen because it's going to put things back into balance. It's going to bring even sort of, I think, to be honest, with that world card in the center, it's going to bring about a cycle of completion within the relationship that you need, that you're seeking with that world in the center. We also have this personal completion in the 9 in the 50 number 54, which is your story. So to me, there's like completions of cycles happening this month for Scorpio, both at a rather grand scale and also at a more personal scale, right? And so we need to just kind of step into it and allow it to happen. Don't fight it. Don't try and force them to be a different way. Don't try and force yourself to be a different way to accommodate their needs anymore. To me, it feels like we've done too much of that already. It's time to let go with this person, whoever this person may be, right? Or whatever this relationship is to us. I'm not going to say it's not without its sort of, like, to me, I get the feeling of melancholy. Like we might be down a little bit in the month of September, but it's not anything that's not gonna, we're not gonna like sort of recover from, bounce back from, or it's actually gonna do us, to be honest, I feel like a bit of benefit. It's gonna like bring us back into balance further down the line. So trusting that and allowing it to kind of die on the vine gracefully is kind of the vibe that I'm getting there. Now, the other outside influence is the Wheel of Fortune. This is Major Arcana. I love this card because it always has that little Cupid sitting at her knee. If you see that, she's sitting in front of the wheel. The wheel is always a slow-moving energy, but it's always a powerful energy. It kind of gives us exactly what we focus on, right? And so when I look at this card as an outside influence, to me, this speaks to the idea that things are kind of coming to an end for us in a lot of areas of our life, or we're sort of feeling complete in a lot of areas, so now it's on to the next. This Wheel of Fortune energy ushers in sort of this idea of, okay, Scorpio, what do you want? How does like happiness look to you? As we release some things that are no longer working for us, like in this Eight of Cups energy, what do we want to replace that? What if we're going to depart from something or allow something to depart from us? What is it that we want to put in its place? The Wheel of Fortune is kind of here asking us for that information or for that desire from you, right? And I think that that desire will be maybe being worked on or being made more clear this month because we have that Five of Cups, which is an emotional sort of emotions driven card in the foundation, but we also have this Three of Pentacles up in the higher self. So to me, we've got water and earth working together to kind of help us define what it is we want and what it is we're not going to put up with anymore. Does that make sense? So I'm seeing those as clarifiers or opportunities where we can use this month to kind of get clear and start feeding into the Wheel of Fortune what it is we want next, where it is we want to begin. We may not actually take full bore action. We might just be in the sort of, I don't want to say thought stage, but you know what I mean? Like just kind of formulating the ideas. But the ideas that we formulate now are going to kind of combine with this Wheel of Fortune, and the process could very much start in September, whether we realize it or not. It may be slow moving, but what we choose to focus on and how we choose to focus on it starts to bring about that change, right? And I feel like with this world card in the center, we're sort of smarter, wiser, and up for this change, right? We're up for this kind of, these new things that could be coming. I kind of get a feeling too, I know that we have Libra season and then Scorpio, but I think by your birthday times, right, by your season, things are going to maybe seem a fair bit different. I kind of almost want to predict, and I don't usually like to future predict, but I kind of almost want to predict looking at these cards that in like say 2 months time, you guys could be on a totally different trajectory, not life path, but it could be that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this idea of, oh shit, I didn't even know that I would be, you know, moving to this place or quitting my job and applying for this job or breaking up with that person and moving on to something else. But you'll know, like my feeling is that you will know with this Five of Cups and this Three of Pentacles sort of guiding you. You're going to know what you don't want, certainly from that Five of Cups, and you're going to know the importance of how to attract and get involved with what you do with that Three of Pentacles, coupled with the power of that, the sort of magic of that Wheel of Fortune, wanting to give you the things that you desire. You can make these things come about. It's just there's some time that you need to kind of allow to happen, right? To sort of get that wheel moving in motion, okay? So the next card is the potential outcomes card for the month of September. This card is not set in stone. It is just, it kind of gives us a little insight into where things could end out for the Scorpios by the end of September. If it's something that you don't like or if it's negative, you can use this card as a warning now to make choices and changes to affect the outcome so this card does not come to pass. But if it's a good card, we can take heart in the fact that we're naturally sort of heading towards this card as we move through September. So this is the Queen of Wands. I kind of like this card for Scorpio, only because I always see Scorpio as the one fire sign that, or the one water sign that wants to convince everybody that it's a fire sign, even when it's not. And a queen, to me, she's the element of cups, right? Even though she's the Queen of Wands, which is the element of fire, she's also the cups element of the queen. So we have that Scorpio nature underneath the fire, the dynamism of taking action by month's end. But the action being associated with the queen, which is more receptive, slightly more passive, more nurturing, nourishing, motherly, that sort of a thing. There is an impulsivity to all of the wands cards in the sense that they move quickly, they take action quickly, they maybe don't think things through all the way. But the Queen of Wands, she's a lady of authority, right? She's a lady that can get done what she needs to have done. She's a lady that sort of is very attractive. There's a charisma to her that you guys might be exuding by the month's end. I think some of that has to do with this, the power and the completion that we're running in this world card throughout the month of September. We're feeling kind of accomplished, kind of complete, whole, healthy. So by the end of September, we're kind of sitting in this, can-do attitude in a way. That's sort of the vibe that I'm getting from the Wands aspect of this card. I do feel like she can be a bit impulsive and a little bit single-minded, which we want to be careful of, but I don't get that sense here because she's seated. I feel that we're maybe by the month's end we're empowered and we're understanding, like we see in this story card, we understand the value of all of the experiences that we've gone through thus far to get us to this point, and we're willing to utilize those experiences, either good or bad, for our benefit in a very powerful way, in a very nurturing sort of way. That's this Queen of Wands. I feel like she is seated, so we may not be taking full-bore action steps by the end of September, but we're getting clearer and clearer and more desirous of what it is we want next, right? Queens also, to me, similar to the Empress, bring about that idea of birth in a sense to me, right? The power of the queen having a child, right, to carry on the throne. So to me, when I'm thinking about this Queen of Wands, this could be the birth of an idea that we want, that we desire, that we are connected to at a level of spirit that excites us again, right? So we might find that connection or that idea coming to us by the end of September, and then we have the Libra season to work our way through taking first action steps towards whatever that idea is. So by Scorpio season, it's really starting to show itself and become a reality. Right now, it's in the very beginning stages with this Wheel of Fortune. All right, so that is your forecast for September, you guys. I like this forecast. I feel like it's very sort of self-focused and believing in oneself, and that's really the perspective Scorpio should be holding on to as they move through September. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am going to sign off now and come back and do Pisces, and then I will do Cancer today. Tomorrow will be the fire signs, and all of the other signs, you guys, that are dropping in looking for either the air signs or the earth signs, they were all done. Earth was done 2 days ago, And then the air signs were done yesterday, so you can look for them on my YouTube channel or on the business page. You just have to kind of scroll through and watch your sun, moon, and rising and see if, cross section the 3 readings and see what kind of a month you might be having. Remember that, your sun is your birth sign, right? And then your rising is how you're perceived by the world. And then your shadow or your moon side is kind of maybe the darker, more subconscious aspect of yourself. You might be experiencing those things too. You can always get your free chart to find out what those signs are. And I look forward to seeing you guys next month. All right, have a good day. Oh, Tina, it's okay. Don't worry. I just got sidetracked. It's totally fine. It's just right before you asked what sign it was, somebody I thought the next one was Gemini. And it's like, I did Gemini over 24 hours ago. So it's kind of like, if people don't read what sign I'm doing and you're not paying attention and I'm doing it live, it kind of just takes me out of the reading. I'm not upset though. I just think it's funny because if the sign says it's for Scorpio, walking in and going, hey, what sign is this? It's kind of like, it says. But I'm not mad, don't worry. I just got pulled out twice by 2 people asking questions that it's not a big deal. So thank you guys for tuning in. And I look forward to seeing you guys next month. I will be back in a moment to do Pisces and then Cancer. All right, have a good day, you guys. Thanks, you guys.